Racing. Flying out, Crumble Manelli leads Agent 11 across to second. Third, Shadow Manelli, King Tommy around the outside of West on Blossom. Then Kachu, Shadow Manelli, Orica Nui and Carla Cat up. Crumble Manelli by 3, Agent 11. Here's Tommy beginning to lengthen. He is absolutely flying. Just needs to get under Agent 11. He bumps with Agent 11. He's still got the momentum up. King Tommy moved up to Crumble, hit the lead. And King Tommy.
What a run that was by King Tommy last Friday night in a heat of the Mandurah Cup, clocking 27.10 as he mowed down Crumble Manelli. Now that is the quickest time so far over the new 488 metre journey. Hello and welcome to the Wednesday preview. My name is James Broadhurst, and speaking of kings, from one king to another, we've got the monarch of the mic, the regal race caller himself, Hayden King. How are you?
Very well, James. All the better for being here as we get a view to the Mandurah Cup this Friday. Really looking forward to it. One of the headline acts, that dog you just spoke about, King Tommy's going to take beating.
Yeah, certainly is. He is the headline act, isn't he? But he's not the only class runner in this race. This is a star-studded field.
Absolutely. I do think if King Tommy gets some luck, we'll speak about the race in a moment, but he's going to be very hard to beat. If he doesn't, though, there are several who could easily capitalise.
Threats across the grid. It's going to be a great race. Get down to the track and see it live. You may be able to get into the restaurant. I think that's been close to being booked out. You'll certainly get into public area, free entry. That's Friday night. Let's get stuck into this race. It is race 6 on the card, the Mandurah Cup. And as mentioned, Hayden, that dog, King Tommy, out of box 6. Tricky position to be in this race, but are you betting against this greyhound? He's now won his past 4 starts over 3 different distances. Look, the 488 probably not really his go, but he made it work last week. How good is this dog?
Very. He may well be the best dog we have here in WA. Such is his talent, he's been able to do it over those variety of trips, punctuated by that performance last week over 488. We've seen him step over far longer than this, and he's won over all of them. He is the genuine article, the real deal, and he is going to take a lot of beating on Friday night. He just needs to finesse his way through the pack, and he needs that little bit of luck, but he also has the knowledge to go with it, and he's deservedly the one to beat.
All right, let's have a look at the rest of the field. And of course, Crumble Manelli out of box 2 here. We were talking about this greyhound's main weapon last week. That is his his launching speed. That is his launching speed, and how he'd lost it. Well, he found it again in a big way in his heat, didn't he, last week? He took something special to run him down last week. If he can launch like that again from box 2, he'll lead, and that's a great place to be when there's likely to be some jostling behind him. I think he's a big show for this race. Another dog I really like, Mandurah Bubbles, really gutsy heat winner. In fact, why don't we have a look at that? From the pole, Mandurah Bubbles is away well, contesting for the lead, but Firecloud cuts across and gets in her way. Now, Mandurah Bubbles is at her best out in front. Not only is she denied that position, but Firecloud drags her wide as they approach the turn. Now, that should have been the end of it, but Mandurah Bubbles kicks again, charges to the line, and she actually beats the strong running Solidified in the run home for a superb win. Now, that showed me there's a bit more to this dog. I think she could be a good one long term. Thoughts on Mandurah Bubbles and then rest of the field?
She was absolutely mighty in victory there. If she didn't win that race, you would have been going for the sick bag. Shorty would have been some sick bag material, and it would have been one of the hardest watches. And approaching the turn into the straight, that's the way I felt it was going to be, with that very strong Solidified giving chase. However, Mandurah Bubbles stuck the nose out, showed a lot of temerity there to get the job done, and it was probably a career best performance considering those multiple counts of adversity suffered to pick itself up and still get the money. Certainly deserves its place in this final and in it up to its ears, providing even luck.
A defining run for Mandurah Bubbles during the heat stage there. Kanyamira, of course, impressive winner, was able to hold out Runaway to Mars to win her race. And of course, Hinto, what a change it's been, what a dramatic change it's been. down to Mandurah, new track, really taken to this venue, hasn't he, Hinto? 2 from 2, impressive win last week. Of course, once he got the sit on a little bit twisted, you always wanted to be on Hinto at that point, but he's just a lot cleaner at the moment, isn't he?
He's putting himself in positions to win his races, which is the difference. He's up there on speed in a competitive role, and that's allowing him the opportunity to make a fist of it, whereas previously he'd been in unpromising positions. Now he's actually got that track position that he can work with, which has proved all the difference.
All right, so how are we reading this race? Do you think Crumble leads?
Yes.
Do you think King Tommy runs him down?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? What are the other scenarios here?
There are a variety of others. I do think if Crumble begins like last week, he will lead.
He'll be tough to run down as well.
If King Tommy gets into trouble, Crumble probably wins. But there's got to be a host banging at his door trying to run him down. I thought Runaway to Mars showed a lot of grit there last week to get up and qualify for the final despite that interference, and I thought that was a creditable effort. There's going to be a heat, but I do think King Tommy is the one. Crumble Manelli second seed. After that, it's a bit of a lotto.
We'll need to find a path through with not too much roadblocks in front of him, though.
He can't afford to get checked twice. Once, maybe, and it can't be a bad one, but I think 2 would be the final nail in the coffin. If
King Tommy's not at 100%, one of the dogs that might be swooping in here is Hinto. Got a couple of quick beginners on either side of him in Crumble Manelli and Nang Bubbles. Will that put him in the race? Well, I spoke to Jodee Jennings, representing the Robartson Kennel, about this greyhound's prospects in the race.
Well, Jodee, Hinto has found some success down on the new Mandurah track. What do you put that down to?
Hasn't he? I don't know. I just think Hinto's given the Mandurah track just a big tick of approval. He's loving it so far.
I was going to say, look, normally a sort of dog that requires a bit more runway to get into his races, but the 488, he's proven to be really good down there.
I know, it's really surprising because he is. He normally does his best work on the line. But for some reason at Mandurah, he seems to, he's had box 2 and then box 7. So we can't even put it down to, the boxes. He's had 2 total different boxes, and he's sort of jumped out, got out nicely, and been able to get away, and off he went. So it's been really nice to see him have some nice clear runs as well.
Well, that's definitely the key in his heat win last week, wasn't it? He got that clear run behind Little Bit Twisted, and look, once he sat on the tail of that dog, he always wanted to be on Hinto there. Good win through to this final now. Box 3, it's a ripping field, isn't it?
Oh, it's a hot field. It really is. It's going to be a great race to watch, that's for sure.
What do you think? What does he need to do to feature in this?
Oh, look, he needs to jump and get out in front, or be sitting. I presume that maybe Crumble's going to be up there, so it'd be nice if he can sit in behind Crumble, and Crumble kind of moves off the rail a bit and just lets them pop on through. That would be nice.
Well, that is the Mandurah Cup. What a great race it is. Get down, free entry at the track there on Friday night. We are, of course, also chasing at Cannington on Saturday. We've got a couple of races that we wanted to have a look at. The first of those is in the first race. This is the 520 metre novice, and this is a really handy race for up-and-coming chasers here. Imperial Sash out of box 2 here, blessed with exhilarating early pace. Drawn to lead, can he hold on? That's the question. Sunset Nightjar, also plenty of early speed about this greyhound, likely to challenge Imperial Sash here for this early lead. Lemon, though, adds a little bit of degree of difficulty here. And then, of course, we've got All About Stone, opposite to those other twos. Doesn't need to lead to win this. Of course, picked up the Young Stars Classic a few weeks back. Hit roadblocks last week when third behind Ghost Emoji, but certainly can go better. Might be able to sit behind Sunset Nightjar here and give himself a good run into the race. How do you read this one, Hayden?
It's going to be a good battle early between Imperial Sash and Sunset Nightjar. I think Sunset Nightjar has more pace. Will he cross? That's the question. The dog I can see getting the cold camp right on their back is Storm Alert. If he begins okay, look out. He'll be surging to the post. His last two have been excellent. He's so ready to win. Big run last start. He's going to be each way odds. That's the way I'll be playing the race. Ghost Emoji, very capable when he gets it all right. Sunset Nightjar, as I mentioned, can flash that early speed. All About Stone's got to be dangerous if he can put himself in a position to strike. He's very strong. Just whether he can sit up close. If he does sit bang on Sunset Nightjar, like you said, he'll probably win, but I didn't see that unfolding. And I think they're probably the main chances in the race, but I really think Storm Alert deserves another win, and I think that could come on Saturday night.
All right, a lot of chances in this one. Agree with you. I'm going to stick with All About Stone, though. I think just a class runner here, and doesn't have to have everything go his way to win this race. All right, that's the first we're looking at Cannington on Saturday. The second race we are looking at is race 5. This is a grade 5 over the 520 metre journey. Interesting collection of chasers in this one, Hayden. We've got Eugenius out of box 7 here. Had that winning sequence broken in a heat of the Mandurah Cup last week. Can he rebound against easier company? Now remember, he ran 29.74 last time he was over this distance. Of course, has been doing a lot of good work at Northern, but shows that he can win at Cannington and win in good time. Stranger Within, chance to get a break on them early here with his speed, and then we've got the likes of Bungee Man, generally thereabouts. Look, hit choppy seeds last week and couldn't quite get over Alden Manelli last week. With a better run, should go better this week. Of course, Alden Manelli did win last week, gets the pole here. What do you think about this one?
I think Stranger Within's going to take a fair bit of beating. He, despite running 7th last start and on the face of it being disappointing, I thought he was actually really quite good. He was beginning to surge into it mid-race, and then he just got tangled up. If he gets a clearer run, good beginning this time, he'll take some holding out in a race like this. Others in the race, West on Frankie was good when running 2nd, narrowly missing a position in the Young Stars. Bungee Man tried his guts out last start behind Alden Manelli, and he was a good run in defeat. One on paper that sort of stands out as the class for me is Eugenius. He's the big class dropper because he was competitive in the market last start in the Mandurah Cup heat, and it didn't totally go right. I don't think he was that well boxed toward the inside because he had all that pressure from experienced and fast dogs to his outside the whole way, and he just never really got in a comfortable rhythm. Could be a better setup here from 7, particularly if he gets a strong beginning. If he finds the front, well, that could be the end of the penny section. Wide open race behind that. I think the one I'll be playing at the each way odds is Stranger Within, because that win 2 starts ago, really good, and last start I thought there were massive excuses. Yeah,
don't mind that, going the early pace of Stranger Within, but yeah, agree with you. I think Eugenius, big threat out here in box 7. Also chasing tonight at Cannington. Well, for the moment, as we record this, the meeting is still going ahead. It has been pushed back to a start time of 7:44 p.m. The stewards will make a decision later on in the day whether this meeting does go ahead. Might get canned due to the heat here, Hayden, but we'll just assume that it is going ahead. You got a best bet for us tonight?
I do. Race 4, number 8, Sunset Comanche, buttering up.
Yeah, it's dudded me and you in the last fortnight, Hayden.
And reopposes Cubit Manelli, who beat it by a long way last start, ran one of the probably top 20-25 fastest times at Cannington ever.
Okay, and all right, explain.
Well, Sunset Comanche's, he just needs a better start, and I think he's got a real engine, and he can balance up out wide on the track. There's got to be no pressure to his outside. He just needs to begin cleanly. If there are any chinks in the armour of Cubit Manelli, and let's say if Sunset Comanche gets ahead of him through those first steps, I think he'll beat him. He's a good 1-2 bet. I'm not sure what the prices are because they're not up yet, but I think he's pretty safe to back to finish first or second, and I'd be playing something in the win as well. So race 4, number 8, Sunset Comanche.
All right, Sunset Comanche for you. I'm heading towards race 3, the dog jumping out of box 7. Toad for Morgan Turner. Got a bit of early speed about this greyhound. I don't think he's going to be a maiden for too long, and he comes up against a small field here. Look, big chance to win this one, race 3, number 7, Toad, for me tonight at Cannington. Hayden, big weekend ahead of us. Love this Mandurah Cup field, and plenty more going on as well, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I genuinely, I think this is a really good betting couple of days coming up at Friday, Saturday, so make sure you get involved.
Get involved, and get involved with us next week on the Wednesday preview.